When I was studying fine art in New Zealand, my work was about finding beauty in brokenness, and it was a recurring theme in various forms. I was drawn to the small parts of the world, the overlooked pieces or discarded things, like feathers on a muddy puddle. I treasured these things by creating a photograph, elevating and celebrating them. I always wanted my images to be about more than just the thing pictured. My images spoke of inner beauty, quiet strength, overcoming struggles, and at tough times with a veil of soul making. While studying, people would ask me, "Oh, so are you going to be a wedding photographer when you finish your fine art degree?" To which I replied an indignant, "No, I'm going to be a real artist, thank you very much." I photographed my cousin's wedding while I was still a student, and to my horror and dismay, I had the greatest time. So as soon as I graduated, I started a wedding and portrait photography business, aptly named Callander Girl Photography, which I thought was quite clever of me. My business flourished and thrived, and I felt like a bit of a rock star, being flown all over New Zealand and overseas to capture these moments in a couple's life. When I found out I was pregnant, I made my husband stay home from work. He told his boss there had been a family emergency. This is exactly what it felt like. This was not the plan. I was trying to establish this new business, and I was quite happily child-free. I didn't even really like kids, and I didn't think my personality was up to parenthood. But on the 30th of March 2008, Evie Amor Callander was born. As new parents, we were overwhelmed with love, excitement, and wonder at this tiny life we had the responsibility of caring for. Soon after she was born, she was rushed to the NICU as she stopped breathing. The words we heard from the doctors about Evie were terrifying, confusing, and dehumanizing. We were told that Evie had dysmorphic features, skeletal abnormalities, mental defects, and multiple ventricular septal defects. We were told that she was incompatible with life and that she was most likely to have severe mental retardation if she survived. We had, of course, fallen in love with Evie and saw not her diagnosis or her anomalies. She was a new soul in the world, beautiful and full of potential. Evie constantly amazed us with her strength and determination to survive, as we had countless times where we thought we would lose her. Over time, I started to realize that she responded to environments which made us think she was experiencing them a little differently to other people. For example, on a section of road that we drove on often, there are several large electrical pylons, and I noticed as we drove under them, she would cry every time, day or night. Then I noticed this was happening anywhere where there were electric sliding doors. It was as if she had an electromagnetic sensitivity that was unique to her. I started saying that she had superpowers as a light-hearted way to describe this phenomenon, like a baby Magneto of X-Men. And then I realized that her entire character and the things she was teaching us and those around her was really profound. She had incredible strength and bravery. She expressed happiness. She evoked a depth of love and care in people they hadn't experienced before. Her fragility and pure joy disarmed people and drew them in. But whenever I went out with Evie, strangers would ask me, "What's wrong with your child? What's wrong with her?" Initially, I would brace myself and rattle off my spiel. Well, she has partial trisomy 9 and partial monosomy 6, and she has multiple ventricular septal defects, and she can't walk, and she can't talk, and blah, blah, blah. The stranger would glaze over and walk off, afraid, indifferent, and ignorant. And I was left with the sinking feeling that I had just let my foot down. So armed with my newfound language of superpowers, the next time someone asked me, "What's wrong with your child?" I simply replied, "Nothing. Nothing is wrong with her. Actually, she has superpowers." They'd look at me strangely and ask, "What do you mean?" And then I got to reframe the entire conversation about all the things Evie loved doing, how we played together, her personality, and how much I loved being her mum. And then they'd look at her again and say, "Oh, wow, isn't she beautiful?" Because I had described a human being, they saw a human being and not a collection of failing body parts. Evie's life wasn't long. She lived to be 2.5, but every day of her life She was completely compatible with life. In her short yet remarkable life, she inspired a dream. The dream was to meet and photograph other children with chromosomal conditions, discover their unique superpowers, and to present them in the form of a beautiful art book. The images and stories in the book would challenge the deficit language we often reach for when describing these conditions and disability. This book is a celebration of humanity. And since making the Superpower Baby Project, with all the attention it received, my entire photography career has changed. It's been hijacked. I now speak to and train healthcare professionals and educators about the importance of effective communication when talking with families about an unexpected and difficult diagnosis. I advocate for allyship on all sides so that everyone can be their best in what are often incredibly difficult circumstances, so that everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. This is my favorite image. I'm scattering Evie's ashes. This image is about beauty and brokenness to me. It is about gratitude, freedom, celebration, and living a life of meaning.